Well, Africa is currently not witnessing the extreme weather conditions we're seeing in other parts of the world. But does that mean the continent is safe? Well, that's a question we posed to Nimo Bassi, an environmental justice advocate and director at the Health of Mother Earth Foundation in Nigeria. This is what he had to say.
Africa is not safe. No continent is really safe from the impact of global warming. And in recent times, what we notice is that there's been some level of underreporting of climate impacts on the continent. You recall in 2019, we had devastating cyclone around Mozambican area. The same thing repeated early this year. We're having droughts in part of South Africa. We're having increased desertification in the Sahelian region and coastal erosions along the Atlantic coast. And flooding going on frequently, but these are hardly ever reported beyond the national boundaries. So Africa cannot go to sleep believing that we're safe because we're having floods in Europe and we don't have reports of flooding in Africa. Africa is not safe. Africa is more exposed, and we have a lot more to worry about. Let me say, Africa contributes approximately 3% of global greenhouse emissions, that is contributing to global warming. That means we are contributing little or nothing. And so what is happening is Africa is just suffering the impacts of actions and inactions of other regions. If you look at some of the solutions proposed by the multilateral system of the United Nations, if it's something like reducing emissions from forest degradation and deforestation. Now, it is good to stop deforestation, but when you see trees merely as carbon sinks, and then discountenance the right of communities dependent on the forest to enjoy what nature has given them and protect and defend it. When you look at trees just in terms of carbon, then we're seeing a lot of land grabbing on the African continent. We're seeing a lot of displacement of communities on the African continent. And there are so many other proposed so-called solutions, like the net zero that we hear about. Many countries are saying that they're going to be net zero compliant by 2050 or by 2100. All these are ways of avoiding real action, but keeping polluting, to keep on pumping emissions to the atmosphere, and then pretend that something else, either is captured and buried, or mirrors are put in the sky, or something is done to absorb the carbon, rather than stopping the carbon in this, at the source. Africa can show the world how to live in harmony with nature, in harmony with the environment. We can also say, no more extraction of fossil fuels from the African continent, because most of the fossil fuels extracted on the continent are all taken outside the continent. They're exported out to feed other economies and to compound the problem of global warming. Africa can lead the way by stopping extraction of global warming. And generally, when we stop the degradation of environment, then Africa will be preparing to be more resilient to the impact of global warming, to live better, and to provide a better environment for our peoples.
Well, as we heard there, Africa may not be experiencing extreme weather at this particular moment, but climate change is clearly a concern for all.